The difficulty I personally have, and I would love to talk about this, is the unfortunate now remarketing or retargeting of certain foods into a wellness piece due to a curious market looking for that wellness thing. So the numbers are this: the supplement industry is 239 billion right now. It's expected to go to billion by 2035. So I believe that's the next decade. It's supposed to double. So you see, where I'm going with this is all the big players are in there. Nestle's considering getting rid of their mass market vitamin business. I don't know if you read about that. There's other players that are going into luxury upscale supplements and things like that. So there's this very interesting multiple movements in many areas, but they're coming back to, like you said, Blake, traceability seems to be something unifying some of these strategies.
Well, and technology is there. For example, we can barcode almost every single fruit right now, or
Yeah.
take a picture of it, or obviously every single animal or livestock. It's possible. I was at PLMA, and the American Tuna Company puts the boat captain's name on every can of the tuna.
Right, right.
So there are these capabilities there, and now it's like, okay, let's leverage that, let's use it. But these also offer opportunities for small firms, smaller to medium-sized firms, to compete and be more nimble and give
Yeah.
the consumer what they want.
Are
Like
you
Nestle,
seeing
the
this in
world,
the marketplace?
they can't trace your herb like some of the smaller companies can.
Some small brands do well that have a great chain of custody story. Like, and I'm seeing outside of the food industry, like, I'm probably going to buy a sweater, right? Like this sweater that I keep seeing, and I did the research on it, and I honestly feel like the people behind the brand are authentically trying to get something right. And I feel like I can support that.
I think the smaller brands do, but keep in mind, one of the problems with today's financial world is that once you start getting investors involved who control the board and who control your objectives every year, who decide that you need to go into another territory or you need to hit a new number. It's almost like politics at the local level. Yes, you meet the candidates, you can help choose a good politician. They get to the state level and regional levels. In order for them to have enough support in order to get an agenda across, suddenly they have to make a lot more trade-off deals. And suddenly they need more money for campaigning or more money for agendas. And in order to get those investors in, they suddenly have to trade off. There's almost no politician I've heard of that wasn't bad from the
money and power corrupts absolutely and completely, and you see it in what happens when a small company turns corporate. We've all
look at all the ones that were look at all of the organic brands in the last 15 years, especially because after companies like Hain started to suddenly hit the market and started to do really well and their numbers went up, then General Mills, Kellogg's, they started buying all of these smaller brands. Let's see, I think it was 2008 or 9, Coca-Cola started their little investment hub to start monitor and tracking these mom and pop brands. And then they would write them nice little letters. We're going to give you this much money if you do this and this and this. And suddenly the mom and pop brands that were supporting maybe a tri-state or 4-state area, regional area, suddenly they had to produce 10 times the numbers, and they were, in order to get notice for the next level investment. And, also local investors started to say, oh, we're not going to give you an investment to produce next year unless you get to this number, because they were looking for higher margins. When you start doing that, that's when some of the issues, the shortcuts started happening. Their formulas changed, their baseline ingredients changed. What's sold?
I actually see, as we talked about before, these small and medium-sized producers actually playing an active role. Here's what I think is going to happen. We actually see this now where founders are unwilling to sell their companies to people that are not morally aligned with their culture. I think that that's important.
The sriracha guy started.
You don't want to be acqui-hired, for example. That's one. Number two, I think that you're going to see less people. This isn't going to go away, okay? I'm just saying less people who are incentivized by big paydays and more people who are incentivized by meaningful work. And so that meaningful work could be a small producer and a small farm where you make X number of dollars and you look after yourself and your family, but you don't necessarily get a $480 million yacht. I actually know people now that are not growing bigger. They're making a decision not to get bigger. Completely clean product, and they just don't want to do it.
There's total trade-offs, and the benefit of doing that and saying, hey, I'm not going to grow on purpose. I'm going to do the right thing